People go to this, wait on God. No, God's waiting on you because he created your body to be this. So he's never going to do it for you. So people have been in church waiting years for God to move. God's been waiting for us to move.
And so the question was, what is a practical, applicable step that somebody can take from everything you're saying and begin to apply it today to move towards that goal or personal development for them?
Okay, so first of all, so it's to write it down using I am statements. So for example, you don't say, I want a 10,000 square foot home with, a barbershop, a pool on 12 acres of land. You'll say, I am walking into my 10,000 square foot home with a barbershop. So switch everything to an I am statement. Write it down, because writing it down is your first reflection back to yourself. In writing it down, it has to be to the level to where you feel it. Never diminish your own value through what you write down by saying all I need is, right? That becomes counter
limitation.
Right, exactly. So everything is I am, and then shoot for the greatest value of I am. If you can't do that naturally, all you got to do is find a person in the world that's doing what you want to do, and then find the number one person in that space and start there. Okay? So if you want to be an author, you probably would need to shoot. Don't say, all I want to do is, sell enough books to reach the people in Atlanta. Then your body's not going to work for you. You have to go, if J.K. Rowling's made $3 billion writing books, I'm going to write a series of books, and I'm going to make $4 billion. Instead of saying I am. Making $4 billion. Not I'm going to, because then that psychologically puts it away. I am making $4 billion a month, right? Or a year writing books or whatever she made. You have to start at the top. And then that gives you just an automatic value. So that's writing it down.
Isn't that maybe too far? Start at the top, because then you hopefully believe it's too far.
Then where does God exist? You see what I said? See, that's what I said. If you're equal to God, and this is in Romans chapter 1, and you reduce yourself because you think the top is too far, then you just cut your imagination. So you just turn the truth of God into a lie. Right? And that's vain imagination. You're designed to imagine the greatest, right? That was the first commandment in Genesis, to be fruitful and multiply. So you can't have God to say, start from the top, and then you re-say, oh, well, that's too high, I'll just do this for now and get there later. And then you're in that perpetual struggle of downness. So a lot of people, the reason why people can't move is because they didn't set their goal high enough, right? So it's sad when you set a low goal, and that low goal is what keeps you from moving, right? So you have to set a goal that gets you excited.
Inspires you.
Right, exactly.
And I've heard inspired and connected with in spirit.
Right, in spirit, right. And then you have to create a relationship. That's an actual relationship to what's on that paper.
And read it every day?
No, a relationship. That's a human relationship. You pick up the phone and you start calling people that can contribute to where you're going, professionals. A lot of times, you look to connect with the people who are in those spaces of where you're going, because once you create a relationship, it creates an automatic path. Number two,
you do a relationship with that identity, that being.
Right, exactly. So yeah,
you like bridging it.
Right, yeah, relationships to people like that are in this realm. Because if you're at creating relationships, you have a high-end value that you want to accomplish, and you create a relationship with somebody you met in Burger King, then they can't supply you with their content that gets you to where you want to go. And so you have to create the correct relationships around that. That's intimate relationships, associative relationships. For example, I'm in one of Myron's programs. I live 2 hours away from Tampa, and he teaches all of his stuff from his studio in Tampa. Me, I'm not going to sit at home and watch it on Zoom and talk about this too far to drive. My buddy's in the car and sitting on the front row. See what I'm saying? Because then I'm creating a relationship to where I want to go, right? And so now there's things in place where there's commitments to get me there, right?
Yeah.
Because I'm making an actual relationship to where I'm going. That includes your intimate relationships with people around you. That's where we suffer the most. That includes family, husbands, wives, boyfriend, girlfriends. They have to be on the same page. Because everything is energy. So if you're saying I'm going this way, and they said, nope, I'm going to go this way, you're immediately robbed of your own future.
Because they're not supporting, they're hurting.
Right, exactly. Yeah, so you're literally dying at the person that you love, right? And like Myron said, you make them more important than your truth, right? So then you live their vision of you and not your vision of yourself. And then what happens in that context, we spend that much time, it could be years, trying to change that person, right? And you'll be surprised how locked in people could be in how they see it. Again, they're bringing their mom and them thought, their grandpa's thought, their an ex-boyfriend's thought, like you said, a teacher, and they're bringing it to your table, right? Saying this is how things should go. And you're trying to make a move and you can't move because you're locked into them. So I preached a sermon one time. That's why every church they like, oh, you're not in Milton Howard Church. You're kind of speaking at my church. I was like, okay, right. That's always the first and last time. So one time I spoke.
That's the first where you start?
That's the first and last time going to a church. Because essentially everybody in the audience will get what I'm saying. But the pastor's like, we can't have this. Right.
What?
Yeah, that's because that's their group of slaves that they get to manage. You know what I'm saying? And so
like he didn't want you to wake them up to
right,
people.
Exactly.
The family members might be holding them.
Exactly. So I walked in the church. I had a briefcase handcuffed to my hand. I said, I got this handcuffed to my hand because I need this as a point of freedom to you. And it's not a Bible scripture, right? So in the middle, I said, I'm finally opening, the suspense is there. I'm finally opening the case to share with, to the audience, what they desperately need. And it was a stack of divorce papers, because we don't know how to leave what doesn't work. We don't know how to leave our jobs when it's not working. We don't know how to leave people when it's not working. But if you can move forward, then you will connect with the right energies in the right roles. You'll be glad you did it. You can't value the other person because another person is not a commodity, right?
What do you mean not a commodity?
Because they're not a thing. So a person can't be a thing of value. That's why we'll value a person and we go after them, right? Versus valuing our dream and going after that.
Our dream is a commodity.
Right. Your dreams are literally things to be accomplished. Seeds that are on the inside of you that becomes things outside of you. So that's what God called. And then in that space, you're going to get more love, more attention, more affection in that space than you could want. You could ever dream of but then you value this person and you stay in that small little tiny space because this is how they see you. Then you don't go anywhere. Then you're frustrated. First of all, if you got a king size bed, sleeping on two different sides, you know what I'm saying? Then you're sleeping in two different rooms, but you're fighting for that relationship and not your future. You do your future first, form your relationship based on your future. So too many of us are working on our relationship that takes away the energy of working on your greatness.
It doesn't mean you have to cut out the close relative, but you manage the relationship in a way where they're not interrupting your progress?
It could be as quick as saying, hi, I'm out. Because the moment, even when, see, everything is energy. I could come into your space and your energy could completely change if I carry a negative energy. So that's what it said. These are the calculations we don't take. So we go to places that harm us. We hug people that harm us. You know, we even churches, there are churches, and their whole selection of music is extremely harmful. Especially the songs that talk about how far God is and chasing after God. All that's misinformation, right? And you're being hurt by that because that's not getting you to where you want to go. But we love the church. We love the pastor. And our wife was that, a member of that church. You know what I'm saying? And so, we're there, but we're losing. As Myron said earlier, every day is supposed to be better than the previous day. That's who God is. So we'll go through a succession of going down and fighting in our down spaces and not taking measurement, because that's the third energy. You got to take measurement. There has to be growth. If it's not growing, you got to change one of the first two. That's your idea or the person. But usually we have no problems with the idea. We know what we want. Mm-hmm. It's the energy of the people that we got around us. So the secret to that is the 12 tribes of Israel. Each name of each child was named after a behavior that we're supposed to express to somebody else. Mm-hmm. So those are the 12 gates to the sanctuary. That's why our bodies are musical, 12 notes. You have 12 energies that you need to be alive. You can't be successful if you're missing 5. So you might love that person, but they're not contributing to where you're going. You got to make that change.
What are the 12 energies?
So the 12 energies, real quick, is to be seen. The second energy is to be understood. The third energy is to be properly engaged. The fifth energy is to be praised. The sixth energy is to be believed. That's, again, all of these are responses towards you. And believe is heightened by if what somebody, it's easier for somebody who's like you to believe in you, right? You're a chef and you got a dream of cooking, but you might be talking to a doctor. He's not going to understand anything you're saying, you know what I'm saying? And then it's going to be hard for him to believe, you know what I'm saying? Or I have was not a close friend, but he was the secretary of Ben Carson.
Oh yeah, Ben Carson.
He's the guy that, through brain surgery was able to separate twins and stuff like that. Okay, well, I'm a musician. He can have that conversation. Let's say early on, he's having a conversation and these ideas are coming to him. He says, Milton, I can cut into the brain this way and this way. I mean, if I don't know what he's talking, it's hard for me to believe. So get around people who it will be easier for them to believe you. So when you talk to them, then you're creating the energy. That's communication and conversation is energy. So that's belief. Then you have to be prioritized. People who could prioritize, people who could stop and put you first. Then there's the energy of enrichment, that's giving you something. The advancement, that's giving you time. The energy of reward, that's if you do something for somebody, they're sure to make sure they do something for you. Because a lot of times we think there's a blessing in draining ourselves crazy to where we are absolutely no energy doing something for somebody, and we think that's what God wants us to do.
A sacrifice.
Right. That's not even a word in the Bible. We just take that. Watch this. They taught us that type of sacrifice so we can give everything to the white slave master. Right? That's not what sacrifice is. Sacrifice is to make sacred. That means I honor you. Right? So I remember what you've done for me, so I'm going to make sure I'm going to do something for you.
Wow. Sacrifice is to make sacred.
Right, exactly.
And honor, not in infliction.
Right, exactly.
But out of respect.
Right, exactly. I was developing a whole city block for the city of Orlando. And I'm just being straight. The Democratic Party there, right? I did everything they wanted to do, that they could do to block me from doing economic development. Because one, I didn't go to them for approval. I had a national board. and I was getting stuff done anyway, even though they said no, right? And they'll tell black people no in a minute. You can't open up a restaurant, but we'll let you open up a little chicken stand, you know? And people took it, oh yeah, they love me. I got my chicken stand or my little boutique. You know, if you're gonna open up a Target, they will wear you out. You know what I'm saying? Until you couldn't move. But if you're gonna open up a little boutique and sell some T-shirts, you know, and say, oh yeah, we love you. Oh my God, they're just wonderful business people.
Or a liquor store, check cashing, something like that.
Right, exactly. But then they got towers, 27-story, 48-story buildings on that side. I'm like, no, we're doing this on this side, right? So when they're like, no, that's not possible. But then when I got a contract on the property and I got all the drawings done, then they started to use the eminent domain to take the property. So I said, if we can't go wide, we're going to go up. And then a congresswoman came to me, Congresswoman Brown, and she said, they got us on a hit list. That means they can't do anything about us being successful, so now they're going to kill us. I said, I'm out of here, right? My name is not Martin Luther King. That, I'm not dying for my people. You know what I'm saying? That's not sacrifice, right? Sacrifice is to make sacred and to give yourself over to someone who gives themselves over to you. So that's the principle of return or reward.
Or reciprocity?
Right. Mm-hmm. God says, return unto me and I will return unto you. That's Malachi. They don't read that in the tithe scripture. Right? They leave it out. Right? They said, give us the money. That's not a return. We spend years lying to people just by skipping one verse. Right? That the meaning of tithe, it tells you what it is the verse before, but we've been teaching tithe is for ministry. Tithe is for business. So that's the principle of return. And then exaltation, then increase, people who can increase you.
I'm still caught on tithes for business, not ministry.
Oh yeah, it's in the book of Nehemiah. That's what the gates are, points of trade. And the money went back home with the people. Like you brought stuff to the temple because the temple was the business center. And in the middle of the business center, just what we're talking about, was the music. Said the music from God communicated the space of their increase. They made increase through trade and took that back to their lands. We tell people to bring money to the church and hope that God will bless us. Then it never happens. And then nobody has a mentality to change it when they don't see it working. They'll hang on to the belief. Again, that's not what belief is, for years. You know what I'm saying? And they keep giving money, working hard, keep giving money. And so that money is not turning around and growing. It's in your pastor's Cadillac. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. And you don't have a business. With the income that flows through our churches now, we have enough to build grocery stores, insurance companies. We're not supposed to be building ministries. We're supposed to be building cities. We're supposed to be building commerce, right? It's in Genesis. What they're talking about here, content, right? We're supposed to be building commerce, trade. Yeah. Be fruitful and multiply. So that's just where we are. So those are, the last one is a mirroring energy. Somebody that knows you well, that when you're out of place, they can handle your business. So those are the 12 energies that you need.
Amazing.
But they all match the music scale.
What do you call yourself?
Just a communicator, that's all.
Right.
Right.
Any final words?
No, that's about it. Never devalue what comes to you. Your imagination is the greatest gift, and it's a gift that I'll share this with you real quick. Nobody's going to believe this.
I think that's the perfect place to stop it. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this series from Dr. Milton Howard. You guys can bet on hearing from him again one day, but for now, go forth and enjoy one of these 2 beautiful recommended videos. Part 1 of my interview with Dr. Milton Howard is up top, and on the bottom is YouTube's next recommended video for you.